Suppose you wish to sing a song to reminisce about a youthful love affair. Would ancient Egypt be on your mind? That is the idea behind Michael Jackson's Remember the Time. Let us check it out. For some reason, no question mark is used. Perhaps it is to suggest that no question should be asked. Sand. A desert is composed of sand and is symbolic of being lost. An hourglass. It symbolizes time, of course, but time also symbolizes creation. Creation goes through phases. Just think of the seasons, which are also mentioned in this song. All kinds of ancient Egyptian structures show up. It is obviously a celebration of ancient Egyptian culture. The ancient Egyptians loved cats. The queen of Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt, or Unified Egypt is shown. It doesn't really matter which Egypt it is, as it is historically inaccurate from the start. Ancient Egyptians were not black, but this idea is promoted by some people. It is racial appropriation, unfortunately supported by some black individuals and by this music video. The king shows up. Notice the eye symbolism. The queen tells the king that she is bored and wants to be entertained. So the so-called stick man is summoned. He performs tricks with his sticks. This lady is impressed, but she's not royalty. The queen is not impressed and orders him to be thrown to the lions. This clearly shows a disregard for human life. At least some people's lives. It is more important for her to be entertained than for this person to live. The king is just sitting there. He doesn't care. The so-called pharaoh is summoned. The queen is still not impressed. She orders Pharaoh to be beheaded, which is an accurate depiction of ancient Egyptian royalty. They had no regard for human life. Then a sorcerer shows up, in other words an occultist. He throws what appears to be black sand on the ground, which assembles in a specific formation. It looks like a portal. The black sand turns into gold, and then the sorcerer descends into the underworld. The first two entertainers were murdered, but this one emerges from the realm of the dead. Then Michael Jackson emerges from the underworld. Notice his appearance. If you had never seen him before, and he suddenly appeared in front of you, you would likely be shocked. He looks like a combination of a man, woman, and child. So there is transgenderism and transageism in that look. The queen is clearly impressed. The sorcerer starts singing. Start quote. Do you remember when we fell in love? We were young and innocent then. Do you remember how it all began? It just seemed like heaven, so why did it end? End quote. In the Bible, countries are often represented as women. Think of New Babylon, which is depicted in Revelation chapter 17 verse 5 as the whore of Babylon. The queen here represents Egypt, specifically a modern Egypt based on the ancient ones, considering she is not an actual Egyptian. The sorcerer is dressed in gold. He represents fame, fortune, and power, which the ancient Egyptian governments abused for their own pleasures. Just imagine how disgusting that is. It is an occult love song. Ancient Egypt is where Western occultism originated and where the story of the Israelites begins. They were in bondage. God intervened to set them free from the occult Egyptian rulers, but this song celebrates their disgustingness. He spins his right index finger. This could refer to time, due to the hourglass in the intro, but spinning is also one of his signature moves. It can also signify being omnipresent, like being popular. It can also signify dizziness, as in losing balance. He kisses the left hand of the queen. I would not even spit on her left hand after what she did to those two men. It is generally considered polite and appropriate for a woman to offer her right hand if she expects a kiss, but in this case, it is the other way around. Ask yourself, why? This angers the king, so he orders the guards to capture the sorcerer. This could be seen as an attack on the patriarchy. She is an adulteress who values fame, fortune, and power more than her husband. We briefly see that he can make himself invincible. In other words, he has the power of occultation. He sings, start quote, do you remember how we used to talk? You know, we'd stay on the phone at night till dawn, end quote. So he spoke to Egypt during the dark. Of course, we see a bunch of serpents. While the queen lies in bed, the sorcerer finds her. She's holding a black and golden scepter. It has the theme of duality that occultists love so much. They meet elsewhere and kiss. At this point we see the sorcerer has enchanted people. They show up dancing to his tune. He sings, you and me in Spain. What is in Spain? It seems to reference the Roman Empire. Spain did not exist as a country when any of the ancient Egypts existed. It emerged from the Roman Empire later on. While the Israelites were enslaved in ancient Egypt, the Roman Empire colonized Israel. It was during Roman occupation that Joshua was born and when Christianity emerged. His parents took him to Egypt for protection. During the time of the New Covenant, Egypt was a Roman province. The dancing becomes sexually suggestive, with possible references to anal activity. The dancers disappear. That is Anubis. He's in charge of the underworld, according to the ancient Egyptian religion. To the right we see Horus, who is part of the Egyptian Trinity. None of these deities are inherently negative, but ancient Egyptian religion has become popular in Western occultism. Its practices were initially localized and community-driven, with a focus on regional deities and informal worship. Over time, however, the central government, particularly the kings and priesthood, gained increasing control over religious practices and institutions. They practiced occultism. In this music video, the sorcerer represents occultism, while the queen represents the government. It is the king, not the guards, who find the sorcerer. The guards surround the sorcerer. The sorcerer spins and disappears. The music video ends with the cat chasing the gold. Cats are known to hunt vermin in particular. The hourglass, desert, gold, and so on, it is all very well thought out. The symbolism is definitely placed there by design, not by coincidence. It is a music video that uses ancient Egyptian culture and religion in a very specific way for a simple love song. That does not make sense unless you understand the symbolism. Michael Jackson was in his prime when this music video was released. He was immensely popular, but ancient Egypt has long been gone. Fame, fortune, and power are always around, but their true love is the land of occultism and collectivism. The Apostle Paul stated in 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 6 to 11, start quote, "But godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world, and we certainly can't carry anything out. But having food and clothing, we will be content with that. But those who are determined to be rich fall into a temptation, a snare, and many foolish and harmful lusts, such as drown men in ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some have been led astray from the faith in their greed, and have pierced themselves through with many sorrows. But you, man of God, flee these things and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, perseverance, and gentleness." End quote. Michael Jackson was an excellent singer and dancer. People generally focus on his value as an entertainer rather than on what his work is actually about. Likewise, after Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt were unified, Egypt became a superpower, and people tend to focus on that and their cultural value rather than on what their work was actually about.